So let's come to a few R phenomena, where R has an influence on the quality of the surrounding vowels. Okay? R is a consonant which very much changes the vowels in its vicinity. Happened quite often in the history of the English language. Okay, the first one I would like to talk about is that one here. Okay, that in Middle English time it must have happened that air became something like R. Okay, it's an assimilation. Why did it happen? Yes, so R must have been more or closer to okay, than A was. Air, R. So you definitely have to move your tongue less when you pronounce it R than when you say air. Okay, this must have been the reason. So once again, simplification. Here is an example. I mean, the two Old English words, heort and heorot, one's distinct, one meaning heart, the male deer, and the other one heart, the organ. They, in Middle English, coalesced, so both hert, okay, hert. And then they both, of course, were turned into heart, or heart first of all, and today we have heart in British English. It must have been completely by Shakespeare's times, this sort of sound change, because Shakespeare puns on heart and heart, he does. Yeah, okay, so hert, heart, you see, so air becomes closer to r. Okay, it happened quite a lot with French words that came into the English language as air. Well, a prominent example here is ferme. Ferme, coming from French fermer, fermer meaning to close, enclosure. A farm is something which is enclosed, fermé. Okay, so it becomes ferme in Middle English and then in modern English farm. But it really is, the French fermer, close, enclosure. Well, you see, etymology is sometimes very interesting. Or merveille, merveille, marvel. Okay, merve, marvel, merveille, marvel. Yeah, it's marvelous. That's the same word. Yeah, marvel, marvelous, something like this. French merve, marve. Okay. Old English, you have bairn, which became barn later on, arn, or Old English fair, then in Middle English fair, and this is our far today, far away. Okay, far, usually fair. Chaucer still said fairer. Yeah, Chaucer still did that. Okay, another example, steer and board. Steer means to steer. Yeah. In Old English, steerboard, it's the steer, Steerboard becomes starboard, okay, starboard. So it doesn't have to do anything with star, it's steer, okay, so in nautical terms, So steerboard, starboard, steer, star. Or take the Old English dear, which turned into the modern English dear, originally meaning expensive. You can still say this or that item is very dear, you mean expensive. And then it turned into dearling, dearling, the dear one, the dearling, the one who is expensive. And this dearling then turned into darling, okay, darling today. But it's the expensive one, so darling is the dear one, okay, darling. This phenomenon bugs us still today when spelling and pronunciation drift apart. Okay, take this one here, sergeant, sergeant, still pronounced in the original French pronunciation, but spelled and then pronounced sergeant. Okay, sergeant, sergeant. R becomes R and R later on. Also true for quite a number of place names, because the spelling of place names is usually very conservative. So still Middle English spelling, Derby, but you don't pronounce it Derby, the town of the Midlands. It's Derby. Okay, Derby. Or same with Barclay. Yeah? Sometimes you even spell Barclay in the banks and so on. Americans use a spelling pronunciation and say Berkeley, okay? It's a spelling pronunciation. But the traditional pronunciation is Barclay. Hartford, same thing. Yeah, Hartford, not Hertford. Hartford. Funny enough, Clark, okay, Clark, spelled well, with an ER, but pronounced Clark. It's cleric. Yeah? Latin, cleric. Clark. Still, the Latin spelling, or at least the Latin vowel is spelled. But the name today, Clark, as Clark Gable or something like this, Clark, yeah, has an R. Americans say clerk, okay. Again, Americans use a spelling pronunciation. Okay, all right. Come to the next R phenomenon, which I would like to talk about. It's what we call metathesis. Metathesis is something which occurs on regular places or regular terms in a lot of languages. Okay, it's the change of position of R and the vowel. This is what we call metathesis. Yeah, R and a vowel change position. In Middle English, the word still exists. It's drit. In German, you still have drit. Okay, in German, you still have it. And then dirt. Yeah? So drit becomes dirt. And later on, dirt. Okay? R and vowel change position. Why is that the case? Sorry, drit, dirt is better to understand. Yeah, I think. Dirt than drit. Drit is over in no time. Dirt takes some time to pronounce. I think here, this time, the reason behind it is being better understood. Okay, anyway, thrid, this would be Middle English in Chaucer, yeah, thrid becomes third, yeah, thrid, third, and then third later on. Yeah? In German, you still have it, der Dritte, yeah, in German still without metathesis. Okay, or another one is brid, in Chaucer you would find this, brid, and which turned out into beard, and later on bad, yeah, beard, metathesis. More examples. Brennan is the Old English today, Bern, so Bren becomes Burn. Okay, you still have it in place names. Brentwood, very close, yeah, to London. Okay, Brentwood, small town. Brentwood, it's the burned wood. Of course, Brent, yeah, still the Middle English, Brennan, but in German, still Brennen, yeah, we still have it. Or Germanic, this time, yeah, there must have been a word like Ross, still exists in German, Ross, we still have that. Horse, okay, so vowel sound and R change position, yeah, Ross in German, horse in English, okay, Ross, horse. Or Old English, Beorcht, yeah, becoming Bricht, yeah, Beorch, oder Berg, Brich, okay, here. Or very prominently, yeah, Thurch, Old English, Thurch, must have been like that, yeah, Thurch, becoming Thruch, and then later on through. But in German we still have durch, yeah, as the Old English Thurch, yeah, same thing. And then metathesis, vowel and R changing position. Yeah, a very common phenomenon, which you have on and on. But what you already saw here, yeah, when they change position is another thing which we still have it and which still bugs us, is the centralization of R, or the centralization before R, okay, which we may call CR if you like, yeah, but then again, yeah, it's this phenomenon where three vowels together with R coalesce. So ur, once distinct, okay, then they were all assimilated to R in that they became a central vowel, yeah, therefore centralization. Ir becomes air becomes and becomes yeah. It's a schwa, really. It's a schwa, yeah. Ir, They all become the same because of the R influence, yeah, which means the R drags the tongue into the middle of the mouth, and what comes out of the vowel then is just a schwa, and then later on this yeah, becomes R-colored as the Americans still have it, air. Then they melt, air becomes and then complete loss of R coloring in RP. Okay, and this is what we have today. It's a sound. I mean, you would have said still, Middle English, beard, fear, seer, flirt, something like this. And today, bird, fair, sir, flat. Okay, centralization. Same for term, germ, German, learn. Okay, so we more or less in Middle English. And then air, same thing. Learn, germ, German, learn, term, whatever. Okay, and nurse as well. Yeah, ur. Yeah, nurse, worm, buren, word. Yes, it would have been worm and word. Okay. We talk about this later on. But, and then they turn into, nurse, worm, bairn, word, word, and then word, word, word later on. Okay? So they all melt into one. They all become, later on, this centralized long all with R coloring in American English. Okay? Yeah, so this is the centralization of R. Very prominent example. And it explains to you once again why there are so many spellings of this sound. Okay, in English. Ear and air and ur and with an O and with an ER and so many. Because originally there were 3 distinct vowels which through the influence of the R, became centralized and then turned into this long central vowel. Okay. If you want to look it up, sometimes you find it under nurse merger. Okay, nurse merger is the denomination usually used in literature. Yeah, nurse merger. But I think centralization is exactly what it is. Yeah, you centralize the vowel because there is an R following. Okay, so far the R influence, which is extensive and which will probably, of course, keep us occupied later on.